Why is it that the harder that you try and lose weight sometimes, the worse off it seems to leave you? How come you can go all in and put your best foot forward, do every single thing that you're meant to do, and still end up burning out and back at square one? If it feels like that for you, I got news. The problem isn't you. It is the kind of effort that you're putting in. And I know that sounds whack, so in this video, I'm gonna show you why your effort is the problem, and I'm gonna give you 3 steps that helped me shake it and lose almost 25 kilos in the process. The thing is, most people come out of the gate way too hot when they're trying to lose weight. They try and do everything all at once. They try and ditch the old foods. They start eating a brand new diet. They launch into a new training routine, start walking 10K steps and whatever else they can think of because they're committed and because that's what it's meant to take. And the thing is, it works up until it doesn't, until you hit a bad day and you can't keep up, and then that attempt is down the toilet and you're back to scratch, feeling like you botched it again. But the problem isn't you botching it. It's not that you lack the chops to get it done. It is the effort being put in the wrong place. You're doing too much. And really, it doesn't matter how bad you want it. It doesn't matter how good those habits might be objectively, and it doesn't matter how perfectly you start. You can absolutely have too much of a good thing. And we know this. When you've got a massive headache, even a real belter, you don't take 10 painkillers just because it hurts a lot. No matter how painful it is, we know 2 will do the job. In medicine, there's this term, the minimum effective dose. It is the smallest amount of a drug that will produce the desired therapeutic effect. How much do I need to take to get what I actually want out of this? You take 2 to do the job and do it without hurting yourself, not 10. But when it comes to losing weight, we're all convinced that more is better. We're looking at the jacked people on social media that are doing the most, and we also really, really want to solve this headache that we've got, and we're willing to do whatever it takes. But you don't really stop to realize that you're trying to shove an entire fistful of fitness painkillers in your mouth at once, thinking that it's going to help. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that, and more importantly, it's why your routine never sticks. That is a hard pill to swallow if you are dead serious about your weight loss. Less feels wrong, and I get it, but it's the right stuff in the right doses that we want, not just feeling like we're doing the right thing. And believe me, if anyone is going to argue with this, it is me. I am not a minimum effective dose guy. As an ex-fat boy, I have to fight the urge constantly to not take 10 fitness aspirin, even though I preach about this concept to my clients all the time. But I went to Europe recently, and this was an undeniable reality for me. I was there for 5 weeks, and I didn't really want to come back looking like all I did was eat pasta all day for every meal, which is what I was doing. So my grand plan was I booked Airbnbs, places with kitchens that were near gyms so that I could cook and eat healthy and keep up with my routine. That absolutely did not happen. There was too much to do, there was too much to see, and too much for someone like me to eat. So by every single metric that I've ever used in my fitness journey, I was doing basically nothing. I didn't track a single thing that I ate. I didn't go to the gym but once in those 5 weeks, in the very first week, and then not again. I cooked 2 meals out of however many that you eat in 5 weeks. All I did was I walked, I did some pull-ups when there was a bar to hang from, I did some push-ups in my apartment when there wasn't. I basically just did what I could when I could, and I kept up with a few foundational habits. And when I came back and took stats, I was leaner than when I had left. The bar is so much lower than we think it is if we're doing the right stuff. Because you have to think about it. What happens when you try to do the most, when you try every single thing that you can as perfectly as you can, like you see online? You crash. The effort poisons the attempt, and the supposedly right things, but in the wrong doses, literally end up being the thing that we can point at and go, that is where it fell apart. It always feels valiant to put the effort in. But if your valiant effort is this giant peak that you can't sustain, and if that one spike of perfection isn't going to get you there, then that kind of effort and discipline is not going to get the job done. It needs to be applied differently. The question is, what does that look like? Now, it definitely does not look like the typical am I doing enough hypermax approach that you see. Cut out all the processed food, go full clean eating, no carbs after dark, track every meal, hit your protein target, stop drinking, meal prep every Sunday, drink 3 liters of water a day, go to the gym 4 times a week. The list goes on. Pump the brakes. Too much, okay? Because really, weight loss every single time comes down to three things: what you eat, how you move, and how you measure whether it's working. That is it. Nutrition, training, and a system. Every single thing on that list is just a bloated, expanded version of those three. Okay? So knowing that, let me now show you how to find your minimum effective dose. Step number one, we start with a reframe. We get rid of the "am I doing enough" mentality and we switch to "what do I want" instead. Remember, we're not doing this just because we're trying to do the right thing. We're doing it because there is a result that we want. So taking the focus from "what am I putting in" to "what do I actually want to get out" is the right way to do things. Now, I recommend that you keep this weekly because zooming out further than that gets a little bit hard to manage. So for example, 0.5 kilo per week lost. That is a good place for most people to start. That should be the North Star. And then everything that you do serves that outcome. You stop throwing every single thing that you've ever heard about fitness at the wall and seeing what sticks. You decide the result that you want, the outcome that you need to see from your effort, and then you do the minimum, most sustainable thing possible to hit it. Now, the second move is finding your biggest bottleneck. And here you have got my permission to go psycho, no limit soldier, maximalist, write down every single thing that you possibly could or should be doing across all three of those buckets. But here is where I'm going to rein you in a little bit. What is the one single thing that out of all of the things on that list, if you fixed it, that would move the needle more than anything else right now? That is where you start. The smallest, most sustainable change that will give you the biggest yield possible. Now, maybe that's cutting out one meal, the meal that you know is blowing your calories every week. Maybe it's going to the gym twice instead of once, or going for a walk every morning to get your steps up. Maybe it is as simple as weighing yourself so that you can see every day whether you're moving in the right direction and you can adjust accordingly. Whatever it is, you get that thing locked in, and from now on, you never miss it. And step three is watch what happens. Because the truth is, you might find that your first move, the one thing that you do, is your 2 aspirin. It is the dose that you needed. And if it's not, and that's possible, then fine. Then we can introduce the next intervention when we know that you actually need it, and only when the last one is locked in and part of your normal so that we don't crash. Now, as your resident expert on this stuff, you are going to need at least one thing from each of the 3 buckets eventually: training, nutrition, and a system. But you do not have to start all 3 at once. Like if your food is bland, you start with a little sprinkle of salt. You don't dump out the whole shaker. So you go a little sprinkle, you watch what happens, you get a taste for the results, and then you build from there if you need to. Because a mountain of salt and 10 painkillers, or the world's most perfect fitness routine made of all of the right stuff done at maximum intensity, usually doesn't fix the problem. It's just gonna make you a new one. And the thing that actually solves it is the minimum effective dose. And yes, you might feel antsy for not gunning it out of the gate like normal, or you might just want to know that you're doing the right stuff as soon as you start. So if you want to know how I recommend kicking off this process, watch this video next and I'll show you how I do it.